Okay, here we go. Let's go straight into it. AREC. Yes. Yes. Looks like we're breaking out. I could even... Oh, but not that one. I could even move that up there. So we're getting close to breaking out, but I think we should be fairly soon. Weekly, that looks good. Monthly looks good. Okay. It went a little lower than my 4. Okay, I think this should be getting ready to turn around here. Yeah. Yeah, look at this. This is a hidden divergence. See how this is higher than this 191, but your RSI was way lower. Oh, it doesn't let me shrink volume. Your RSI was way lower. So that is a hidden divergence, they call that. And it looks like we didn't fully close this cup, but it looks like we're pulling back, and this is 3 back. So I like this. I like this support here for AREC. It could close this gap, but so far it hasn't been closing gaps, the market, I mean. It's been going right above them and then taking off. So I like it in this range here. And as I said, I think this is the 4. So when we come out of this, we should be higher than 711. I have 100% extension would be 850, but the market has been, generally it likes the 161s. Oh, that dirty dog. I can't believe I did that. There we go. I just moved all my numbers. Okay. Seriously. How do I know if I've just grabbed that thing? There, okay. So I expect us to go to the 161.8, and the market has actually been going a lot higher than that. So I would actually think this gets into $18. Probably. The market's been doing everything so fast, it's hard to put a time frame on anything. But that would be my target for AREC, would be $18. the first target price. Oh, that all depends on what time frame you're using. On the daily here, the best way to get target prices, if you want to know, are the Bollingers on dailies and weeklies. So your target price really is only 251. So that's your resistance, what you want to break. And then what you're going to do is once you break that Bollinger, you're going to go to the 200 because that's your next resistance point. So that's 286. And look at, that's going to put you right into this cluster of trading. So that's going to be another resistance point. So when you say TP, that it all depends on what your trading time frame is. Like if you're investing in this, I mean, here, I'll shut this off so you can see it without my nonsense. If you're investing in this, there's really nothing to do but just hang on, let it play out. If you're trading it, oh, I don't like that. This looks like it's turning up, but this should be a bottom. This really looks like a bottom to me. These Bollingers pinching with it below the mid Bollinger. I don't like that though. I don't like that look. But this looks good for a bounce. I think this is probably going to start. This looks like it should start running, and then hopefully we get this weekly to turn, and we get above this 50 in the mid Bollinger right here at 256. 256 is going to be your key number on AREC. But it looks like, I think we should try to start to turn that, I think, on the weekly. Next is one of my faves. Let's see where we are on Triple D. I haven't sold any of this yet. I've sold calls, but I have not sold any of this. So let's see where we are in the big bad world. Let's start way out. You know what it is? Nope, that doesn't work. Or you said you could see that, right? When I go full screen, you can see this. Ah. Okay. Okay. Here we are on the monthly. Let me turn off my nonsense and just look at the beauty that is triple D so far. Look at this monthly RSI starting to turn up. That is awesome. So let's zoom in a bit here. See how these, when it pinches down, these candles start to grow and do that? Yeah, I think we're just starting this. So here we are on the monthly. We're at the upper Bollinger on the monthly. So that means we're pushing massive history right here in the stock. There's the weekly, 7 up weeks. I mean, that's a big move. But look at that RSI. This wants to touch the 200 right there at 489. That's what it wants to do. And it wants to do it on a 9 count, which means in 2 weeks, I think it wants to try to do it. Here's the daily. We're trying to close this cup at 380. Look at this thing. Look at this spike. And this is just a series of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I mean, even if we pull back, that's a 2. I mean, these are big pullback. These are big slingshots. Just reloading. This hasn't been able to run yet. Look at this through here. I would say they haven't let this run, but this hasn't built up enough buying pressure to break the selling pressure yet. But it is, I mean, it's pushing it so hard. It's getting massive, and then it's getting sold off. But that's on smaller. I mean, this is daily. I say smaller, but then when you look at the weekly, you really see the damage that the buyers are doing. I mean, look at them eat into the sellers right there. All that chop turns into a smooth, big green candles going up. And that's just buyers absorbing sellers. And then once they absorb all the sellers down here at the bitty bottom of this thing, we gone. Because there's no one left to sell. It's all just people hanging on. All right. So let's look at the hourly, see where we are. Oh, look at this stepping up. Great. This is fantastic. I mean, this is a fantastic bullish wave. You want to be a swing trader? Real easy right here. It touches the green. You buy. You get separated. You sell. Touches the green. It buy. You get separated. You sell. I actually probably would have sold here. Now, nope, I wouldn't have. That's not green market. I would have sold right here. But that's just on an hourly. I mean, that's a swing trade. That's just a couple hours to a couple days, maybe a week, using an hourly time frame. That's actually a long trading time frame. Just FYI. Yeah, options are super cheap on this still. I noticed that also. Yeah, for $425, you could own this thing for, well, your price would be $425. You'd be paying $425 per share, but your total cost is actually like $220, and then you'd own that thing for 2 years. So half the price, and you own that thing for 2 years. No, it's not half the price. I was thinking 420. It'd be 220 off of 357. So what is that? 70% of the price. Yeah, it's consolidating right here. Now let's see if we turn on the nonsense. See, right here is going to be your support at 313. And look how that lines up with the 200. And right here, yeah, funny how all these lines match up. And look at this. It's almost like someone was probably buying here. And look at this. See how this is waving like this on the way up? And jerking pullbacks. That's just 1 2 1 2s. This thing has not fully broken out yet. Not even close. I have a feeling this is going to have like one of these massive, what are we, like 14, 20, 80% days. I think it's on the list for that. Which, speaking of, I know it's not on the list, but I'm going to show you because I think it's going to do it too. Because I want to show you some charts. I know I'm deviating, but yeah. Look at this end phase. Look how this thing is just blown up. And also you had First Solar. Look at that, just shoot up like rockets. Then you have this guy. Hasn't done anything. But that RSI is screaming. I think this is going to be the next big solar to run. And while those others are pulling back, I think they're going to rotate into these. And so I think Sunrun's going to be your big mover here pretty quick. And look at this. On your weekly, your 50 is getting ready to cross your 200. Look at that candle. That candle is like a starting gun that someone just fired off. You're above the mid Bollinger. You're above the 5 MA. This is a weekly, so these are longer than dailies. These are longer holders. This is more institutional like. But now you're above the 200 here too. And so you've got all this support now under you on the weekly that's lifting you. I think this little Sunrun is getting ready to boogie. And look at that. That is just, yeah. Yep. Anyways, okay. Side detour over. Let's go back to done with triple D. Let's look at FNUC. I believe this is nuclear. Frontier. I think this might be the old, this was a different ticker. Okay. Our bottom was 2026. I don't really like that, but I believe this is Australian. So I'm going to give it a little pass for now. This looks like it's turning up. And that's the thing. Uranium is bottoming. And I say that bottoming. It's creating a bottom. When it's going to move, I don't know. But again, uranium has these 30% days. That looks really good on the daily. You're above the 5 MA, you're above the mid Bollinger, you're above the 50, you're pushing the upper Bollinger, you're getting the selling pressure. Hopefully you're getting it out and you make a move up towards the 200 here at 328. Yeah, that looks, this looks like a falling wedge to me. But you need to hold this 189 though. If you break 189, me personally, I would sell and never look back. Just me. If it broke that 189. It's got to bottom sometime. Might as well be now. GURE. This is another hyper. This is a hyper oil. And this looks like it's going to run. Look at that. Look how coiled that thing is. I mean, that's ugly because it's been super diluted. But your low is all the way back here at 1999. So this and this is why I own just a little bit of this. I can't help myself. Your target up here, I mean, 744, this is after many, many splits, but your low is still back here. So this thing is coiled, and I think you get a bounce, and you might even get it to the 200 right there, which would be 92, which is still insane considering, I mean, I was buying this thing at 3 something and 4 something. So it's just one of those ones that has a possibility of a massive pop, just like the next one that I'm going to look at that you all know what's coming up. But look at this, just rejected off this 50, but it's getting tighter now, tighter. What we don't want to do is break this 2040. And what we definitely don't want to do is break $1. That would be Toastios. Game over. But I want to get back above 8. That's where I'd really like to get above, and I think it's doing it. I think we're starting to make our move here above the 50. That's my hope anyways. And then again, I'd like to close this cup, but we'll probably hang up here at the 200, which would be at $15. Look at this daily. That looks so good. Again, $8 is the near-term target on this. And this isn't like something that I'd invest in like super gung-ho. I mean, they don't pay dividends. I don't study the company. It's just the chart is such that, I mean, I have to own just a little piece of this. Just being me. Like I can't. Yeah. I can't not look at that and just, what if? What if it holds that low and it just spikes to the moon? So there's my thing. And yeah, like I said, my stop is $1. So, but my upside's 90, possibly. And again, I own this at 3 to 4, so I'll take profit at 8. Okay, now to the other one. INDO. And INDO will have its day. I still believe that. Because the low is still all the way back here. This isn't 1999, but it's 2020. So we held the COVID low. As long as we do that, this chart should break that high. And we should hold this 2030. If not, then we tumble into something different. But look at these increasing, starting to get a pinch. And this can drop. I think I had 260 or 250. The 50 just crossed the 200. That's generally more towards a buy signal than a sell signal. Yeah, I don't mind Indo. And my target is still over 86. And again, I don't have a time frame on this. It's so cheap right now. With 155 as a stop, I could lose. So theoretically, I could lose half my investment, but my upside again is in the 90s. Theoretically, so theoretically, I could lose half, or theoretically, I could gain, damn near 100x, 50x. That's crazy. Crazy upside potential. Now, that's not something that I, dumped 90% of my account into, but that's something that I own a piece of for sure. Indo is lazy, and I think that's intentional. I think these people that have shorted it, probably forever, don't want to see this happen again. And so I'm sure they keep it lazy to try to bore you out of it. Okay. NEGG. $332's the ultimate low that we need to hold. And that doesn't look good, by the way. That's not good. That is also not good. That is a squeeze down on a weekly. That is a squeeze down on a daily, although we're starting to get bullish divergence. So it should be getting close to a bounce That could be a capitulation. We'll see. This is... I think it probably capitulates more down to like, oh, it is at 18. Okay, we could get to 9, I suppose. But I think it holds here at 18 probably. But I would definitely let it. I would. I mean, you could bottom fish it here, but I would rather let it turn around and form some kind of structure and then buy it with a structured base under it rather than picking at possibilities down here. Sure, it's a good price, but it could also drop to $9 or $7. Then it wouldn't be a good price. So I would rather wait for this to build some kind of structure. Because it just, I mean, nothing jumps out. It all looks kind of ugly. But if it does start building a decent structure, I mean, the upside's still 250. And see, we've broken this, so that's not, that turned this into something else. ZENA. Warrior Princess. Xenotech. That looks like it's turning up. I don't like that though. I don't like how your lows all the way here, but this is, I mean, this is a lot of consolidation. Your Bollingers are pinching. If you get above $1.72, I think this could spike up. But this isn't, yeah, I don't. This isn't something I would personally rush out to buy, but this is, I mean, this looks all right. Here's your head, shoulder, shoulder. So I think you spike up to probably 216. Yeah, and then try to move up. This just isn't my type of thing. And this chart isn't screaming at me good enough for something that I would have to have. But if you had it, that's what I would say. I mean, it has potential to spike here. All right, let's get into some coal. Hallador. Now let's see some charts. Oh, we almost had it there. Wanted it so badly. Look at this. Look at this, folks. We are above the 5MA. That's the 5MA there. See this? Nope, that's not. Oh, it's just clicking all the moving averages. Okay. Well, let's try something. Oh, I have to do it through this thing. Never mind. Okay, anyways, we're above the 5MA. We're above the mid-Bollinger. We're above the 50 and the 200. Now, the 50 is not above the 200, so that, but we are above all of the moving averages. The Bollingers are pinching. We had one flex to push the Bollingers up, and we hit resistance here at 2156. I think we're going to spike up to that again. Except this time, I think it's going to try to spike through. And I think it is. I think it will spike through. I'll turn off the nonsense so you can see we're at all-time highs with this stock. We're pushing for complete breakout of the stock. Weekly above all the moving averages again. And your upper Bollinger is 2085. So we see if we can hit that on the weekly. Once we break 2470, then it's clean air and this thing can just run and run and run. So that's what I'm waiting for. I think we're approaching that day. SXC. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. And here you have your 1, 2, 1, 2. That's actually a 1, 2, but that's a crazy 1, 2. And look at this. Look how it just widens going down. This thing's going to be spring loaded coming up. I expect it to close this cup here at 1280. It'll always stop at 10 because that's a good round number. I shouldn't say always, but it'll usually stop at that. Man, this is just a fantastic looking chart. It's just fantastic. All of these were rejected off the 200. Now we're above it. Look at that, just flying. And on the monthly, we're just starting. This thing is just starting. And look at these. Look, you want to get jazzed about something? Look at these Bollingers pinching. And look at that candle. We're above that took us in a month. That took us above the 5 MA, the mid Bollinger, and the 50 MA of the monthly in 1 month. That is a hello candle. Hello. Look at that. That looks just like a monster. And again, here's my target on this 1720. But the real target is up here, 35. First we'll close this at 25, but yeah, that's where we go in the future. Man, that just looks awesome. But short term, 10 and then 12 and a half. 1220. Close enough. Okay. CRM. Salesforce. Software. Yeah, this is software's move. Good software. Some of the software is going to get taken to the woodshed. That looks fantastic. Should start closing gaps. I mean, my target would be 228. Might as well say 230 there. That looks great. Look at these. That looks great. Hopefully this does what Now did. That looks just like Now, don't it? Is that the same chart? What do we want to bet CRM gets a 15% move here? Anyone? Bueller? Yeah, that looks great. Oh, yeah. What are these things? Oh, look at that. I bet you could close this gap up to 22. Okay, yeah, that looks great. Yeah, up to 230. Okay. ACHR Archer. Yep, that's going to pop. Just looking at that, I can look at those Bollinger's pinch. You're above the 5. Oh, yikes. But look at that. It's not what I meant to do, but it shows it. You're above the 5 MA, you're above the mid Bollinger, you're above the 200, you're pinching. I think you spike up to 837. And then I think you probably spike much higher than this because I think you're finishing this correction. A, B, C. And that is A, 1, 2, 3, B. Yep. I think we're coming out of this. Yeah. See, this isn't an ABC. This isn't a rising. This is not a rising wedge. This is a series of 1-2s, 1-2s, and it's getting ready to pop. Yeah. Monthly's just okay. But the weekly and the daily look great. Hour, you're above the 50. So yeah, right here, this would be my support line, right in the 670 range. Yeah, I would be buying that area and using that as my support line. But I think that's going to go up. Now, okay, let me tell you my tragic story of now. I sold half on Friday right in here. And then I was like, you know what? I'll set crazy stops on the rest of it just in case. And they got taken out. I shouldn't have called them stops because they weren't stops. They were target sells. I said, you know what? I'll put some crazy high sell prices on these. And then they went. So I think I'm almost out of now calls. But I digress. It hit 230. I would expect a pullback, but I didn't expect it to hit that so fast. So now I think we probably close this gap. 130, it's already there. So next would be 142. And the 200 would always be my target. 142 would, and then that's a clean break here. And that looks great. So yeah, 142 would be my next target. And then I think you close this gap at 170. Yeah, 170. Okay. I'm going to look at some that I want to look at anyways. Look at this RSI. This is crazy. I'm so upset that I may be out of calls. Anyways. Pony. See where my pony boy is going. I love this divergence here. I like that we're above the mid. No, we're not above the mid Bollinger. We're above the 5 MA. I still think this pops massively. Bollingers are starting to pinch. This is starting to turn down. I do not like that. I'd like to see a pop out pony next week. This looks so good. Think we were fighting to get through that. That's what I want to see. 1070. All right, Roblox. This doesn't look as great as it did, but that, I think I bought it back when this RSI looked better. This looks okay. It'd be nice to get a big move out of this. Something to push. Really push it. This one getting the big drop. What about next? Again. Next with a big drop also. On now, I would wait for a pullback, and then to be perfectly honest with you, I would buy, was it this one that hadn't broken out yet? What was the one that hadn't broken out yet? It was CRM, wasn't it? Yeah. I would much rather have buy CRM than now. Because I don't think this has made the move that now has yet. When will CRM be now? Soon. Yeah, this is just starting its move, and this is a weekly chart. So here's the daily. And now if we go back to now, see it broke through all that nonsense and it's already gone. This one's just getting started. I thought there was another one that we looked at in sophomore. Am I losing my mind? CRM now. I thought there was a third one. I am losing my mind. Oh, you want to look at Nokia? That one's been flying. I don't. I do not trust that at all. Look at that, and that's pointing down even. I mean, that is the ultimate of chasing. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No, especially not on an 8 count. Now, if we're talking NAC, I might be looking at here. Look at that. Look at what NAC's creepily doing. Uh-oh. Is NAC getting past all this sell zone? NAC. What we got going on here? Knacky knack. Uh-oh. Getting ready for happy fun time at knack holder value. I think that's getting ready to go. Yeah, I would rather have knack over NOC. That would be my t-shirt. Knack over NOC. That makes me wonder, are all the miners that good? That looks like it's getting ready to break out. NAC had a 7% day. I didn't even notice that. Oh, GDX. I think the miners are getting ready to go. Endeavor, that looks really good. That is... You're pinching, but you're below the mid Bollinger, but you're starting to turn. I don't trust these, but I mean, I would rather own a miner than most anything else. Where's my boys? Well, this one I think is going to break out here. Where'd that go? I think that's getting ready to pop too. Let's see. Why can't I find my... There we go. That is awesome. I mean, that could pop. This could be a bottom here in Hecla. That could be as cheap as you're going to get it. What about CDE? Oh, that looks great. That looks fantastic. All right, let's look at some hypers. Oklo. I know a lot of people are holding Oklo, me included. That's getting ready to pinch. Uranium is getting close. Uranium is getting very close. That looks good. That light bridge broke out back here. So as long as we hold 978, and then I would say here at 1042, that would be my stop on this. But I think we're getting ready to break out here. And again, I think this is the best chart. This is the best chart of the nuclears. And I don't know why it would be this. I believe these guys are the ones that are reopening 3 Mile Island. This looks great too. New scale. That just started looking great. That had a nice close Friday. That gave that a nice weekly chart. That is, look at that pinching above the 5, above the mid now. I like that. And you want to talk about cheap? Look at how fast this thing can spike. And look at some of these options. I mean, you can get them really cheap. And then you just sell them on the big spikes. Open. Oh, that's going to spike. Look at that. That's open door. This is part of software, right? Oh, residential properties. So that's real estate. But that looks like a clear breakout. That looks like it's pinching. That looks great. 6. This looks good. This looks good. This looks good. Stair stepping up, building resistance here, building or turning resistance into support. Right around 518, 520. Now, the worry that I have about this is how it made this bottom. And that's only 3 waves up. Which, if we make another high, then oh, that did do a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It did. So this will be interesting. But if you make a new high, then that should lead to another high. Just how this is set up. So this is actually a really good risk reward here. I would put my stop right here at 474, 475. And then let this ride. $11, somewhere in there. That's a really good looking chart. for a good pop. UVIX continues its never-ending drop of frustration. See, this looked so good right here. This looked great, and then it crushed. I mean, this looked like a great setup. The market just will not go down right now. A drop in the market. They've bought into the market, and so the economy is the market. So the government can't risk a drop in the market because it would be a direct drop in the economy. So that's why the market's not crashing. They won't let it. They're just going to keep pumping it up. It eventually it will. And I think we probably get and I'll talk about that now. I might as well talk about it now. On the NASDAQ, eventually, let me get rid of the nonsense. Eventually, we'll get a drawback here. And we're on the 7 count. And look at this is a massive pinching. So this is either going to massively squeeze up or squeeze down. But we're nearing a 5 count up, so we should get a pullback. So that should be a spike in VIX. And I think this pullback could be pretty big, pretty substantial. The market loves doing these 786 pullbacks. And so that would bring it all the way down here. That'd take almost 7,000 points out of the market. That'd be crazy. And I don't know what would do that. And right now the software stocks look really good. But they're not carrying the market. What's carrying the market is the SOX. So let's take a look at SOX. Okay, this looks like it's finally topping. And I say that hesitantly because your Bollingers haven't flattened. I mean, you could still push through this, but you're starting to get flat candles. Just none of your indicators are matching the flatness. So this is still very much in a squeeze higher. But again, you're at a 9 weekly count. So I think my personal belief is that this drops, but I wouldn't go out and short this. Yeah, that looks like that's going to drop at least down to 200, I would think. So that should lead to a market drop. However, I think your software is going to pick it up. VIX is on a 9 count. So again, with the stocks dropping, I think the market could drop, and some of the stocks that we have talked about still go up because software is just not a big holding. Well, it is a big holding, but it's not nearly as big as semiconductors in the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ could drop and software still go up. But that's a 9 count on the daily on VIX. VIX looks like it should spike, but the market has just been unrelenting. Oil, almost touched that 85. Still can. I mean, we're still below the 5 MA. So I still think we touch this 85. Maybe we get as low as 82, 83. An announcement for NVIDIA and Microsoft. I'm sure you know NVIDIA has a problem, right? Their Chinese revenue is zero. NVIDIA and China are no longer doing business. And that's because China can replicate basically close enough with their own chips. And then the new Huawei chips, I guess, are supposed to be really good. Something about the way they're built, I don't monitor that close enough to speak intelligently on it. I just know that something about the way Huawei's doing it is good enough for China and their distributors, and so they're kind of cutting NVIDIA out. But yeah, Microsoft looks good. I had thought when I did my last update, not update, but I think when I did my last live maybe or last week, I had thought that the market rotates and maybe Microsoft starts to hold the market up, and lo and behold, there it goes. If we're doing software, this looks good, huh? This looks good. Hopefully we get a pullback, and then I think that would be viable. Yeah, sound looks good. Soundhound. Yeah, sounds all right. NVTS, I have that. That chart is bonkers. I bought that at like 5, and it wasn't that long ago. It didn't seem like. Yeah, that chart is bonkers. On a 7 count, I would say that's probably getting close, but who knows? Someone knew about that news before it's going to come out. ONDS, I said, was a great chart. Someone kept asking me about it. I hope they bought lots of it because that was a great chart down here. And it just spiked. Oxy and SLB. Let's look at OIH. I think it's coming down more. Probably down to 401, 400 at least. So that would be your SLBs. Which 5360 would be my first support, but I don't think that holds. You have such bearish divergence here. If this were a semiconductor, it wouldn't matter, but it's oil, and people have been taught to hate oil. So I think this divergence plays out and this thing drops maybe down to 42 even. Oxy, I have mixed feelings about because it has to break this. I mean, it can go down to here, but 54 about would be considered support. So it'd have to break that for me to get more bearish on it. But again, oil is going to be unfavored for a little bit, and that if we get a spike to 160, it won't matter. It'll change all these charts. So I still remain long-term bullish on oil and energy, but especially oil. Meta. That's probably going to break up, but that is not a... I'm dying to run out and buy this chart. It'll probably move up, and it's meta, so it may move up really well. I mean, it has big institutional backers, but I wouldn't. That's not my cup of tea. But your resistance is going to be about 670. Your support, I would make it the 50 there at 630 or so. Sidu. can't say CDU, I don't think. I think that's something totally different. Okay, this could be really good. This is Cydia space, right? Yeah. Okay. Don't like that. Don't like that the low was so recently. Didn't I look at this, or did I look at something very, very similar to this? That long chart. This looks okay, like it's probably going to spike again. Here's your cup. You closed it. Closing the cup means you make a higher high than this. When I say it didn't close the cup, that's when it's, we'll see an example, but when you don't make a higher high. Usually that's not a good sign, but not all the time. And not enough to bet on it. Yeah, that looks like that might make a move here pretty soon. But that would be my support, 440. SQQQ. This is the same as VIX. This looked good in here, good bottom, spike, and then just crushed. It looks like it's trying to put in a bottom, but for what? Probably just a spike. I don't know. As I said, I'm not a big fan of shorting anything right now. I would much rather just buy things that are going to run. Because like I said, the administration has tied the market or the government to the market. They're holders and owners of stock outright. And in historically, that's never a good thing. That's always a last phase inflationary explosion. Happened in France and it happened in Holland. Those are the two biggest examples. Holland tied their stock market to the East India spice company, and they were trading all the spices. Spices were the number one commodity in the world at that time, number one valuable. They gave everything flavor and stored it, and essentially they were the chips of the time. And so the Dutch had the reserve currency of the world. They had the biggest fleet. They controlled all the trade. And so they tied their market or they tied their government spending to the stock market, the East India Company. And then the East India Company was losing its control of world trade because it had to spend so much money to keep control. So they were taking out massive loans and had massive debt. So the whole thing underneath that giant stock market explosion exterior was a crumbling society. And it fell like a rock. And Holland never recovered because it was replaced as the reserve currency, and no one trusted the market anymore. So the money fled from Holland and it went right into creating the next world power, which was England. And the funny thing was, Holland had the greatest ships of the time, which is what made them the world power and how they controlled the spice trade. And they got so rich that they decided they didn't need anyone. Building ships was beneath them, so they outsourced that to England to build ships. So then England took all that money to build ships and learned how to build really good ships, and then they built themselves a navy and decimated Holland in the trade. So yeah, lessons that no one ever learns. We did the same thing with China, essentially, except we strapped China with a nuclear bomb when we left them, and that was the one-child policy. That's why China won't be the future of the East. They'll set the stage for it, but it won't be them. All right. Did I just start getting live stock quotes? Let us check. I went on a bit of a tirade there. Is this really up 20%? Yes, it is. Okay. All right. Guess I didn't buy that one in time. Now surging, run. This is where I'm gonna be buying this week, I believe. Pony, that looks great. Pony looks like we're ready to bust up out of here. Oh, let's look at IPI, because this is, I should look at my number one holding, huh? Oh, look at corn breaking up, wheat breaking up. IPI should be breaking up. And they gave me more shares. They gave me IPI and MOS both. They're like, here, you want more shares? Yep, sure do. That looks great. These don't have a lot of trading on after hours, so there's nothing really ever to see, but it looks like they're going to go after software. What's our hypers doing? Nano up 3%. Friggin' Nano. Said that's the best looking chart. The East Coast nuclear. That's probably why, because these other SMR is West Coast for now, mainly. Lightbridge is East Coast, but it's more of a intellectual right now. Nano actually has facilities. So I think that's why it's the best looking chart. East Coast with facilities. ASTS. That used to be my largest holding. And then I sold it at 120 something. Yeah, I sold it back here. I just don't like that bottom. I mean, it's clearly a bottom, and this is taking off, but I don't know what this is. This is a weird ABC, if it's an ABC. Mainly it's weird because there's no divergence, and it did it after hours. It hit the lows after hours. I hate that. That looks like it's going to go down. I would think your first support line is, yeah, I'd call it that. Probably a little bit above that there. Somewhere in the 87. Wow, that's a big drop. Do we get that far for reals? Where are we at right now? Oh, we're already at 108. Yeah, we can do that. Yep. I think that's about right. The upside. What is the upside on the STS? Well, we broke the squeeze, so you're not squeezing anymore. So I would wait until it's finished with downside before seeing if there's going to be upside. This could come down to, 86, 87, but then $160 would be my upside target. Always has been. Let's see if there's anything interesting. BBAI is up against resistance, so that'll be interesting. See what it does there. Let's do this. Anything good now, not just flying. And of course, socks bouncing here. All right. Yeah, Micron hit 1,000. That would have been my target, and that's also my danger zone, just because it's a nice round number. But it'll probably climb through that, like go 1,020, 1,040, something like that. And I definitely wouldn't short that. I'd just find different things to go long. Microsoft moving up. Let's see what's good on here that I like. There's that ONDS. Yeah, I think that thing's going to fly. Okay. Any last requests? Well, I do get cues now. Oh, it is 1 o'clock. Man, I want to see how screwed up my internal clock is. I somehow went back in time. I was thinking it was like 9 or 10 at night. This is trying to close that. Yeah, I think we have a big day tomorrow. I think tomorrow is the continuation of Friday. But then I would be nervous because we are, as I said, this is nearing this is 5 waves. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's a little 1, 2. And then you have your 3, 4. And so here's your 3, 4, 3, 4. So when I say we're in, let me slow down. And this is a terrible example because this is just a straight shot. But Elliott waves, and I don't even like to call them Elliott waves because Elliott waves have rules. And I don't like to confine myself with rules. So we'll just go with general wave theory, or they move in five waves. That's an impulse or a bullish wave. 3 is bearish or corrective. So this is, when I say a stock is at 1s and 2s, that's the bottoming process. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Those are your ups and downs as a stock is bottoming. And they go up. I mean, these are 1, 2s going up. So zigzags up. And at the top, they're 4s and 5s. Like here's a 5 or a 4, 5. 4, 5. So 4s and 5s are zigzags, but they're at the top. And so you're pulling back on them. So we should be nearing a 5 to where we get a correction. And a correction, generally your first stop is the 4. So that'd be back down here around 700. But as I said, it loves doing these 786 corrections, which would put you all the way down like 590, 588. And it could do it quick and then just start ripping back up again. And it wouldn't surprise me if it did something like that, just to draw in a bunch of shorts and then keep ripping up. But we have to see what this turns into. But you can see that is just crazy. And they can keep crazy going on for a long time. And the other thing is, I keep reading that the easiest, and it's true, the easiest trade in the world right now is to short socks and long oil. But because it's the easiest trade in the world, they're gonna draw it out and make everyone go broke who's trying to hold that. So you have to offset that somehow if that's your trade. But long oil right now is the easiest. That's the easiest play in the world. But they're not going to pay you for easy. But yeah, this is in a series, I think, of 4s and 5s. So when we top this, I'm getting very nervous in this area for, yeah, I just wouldn't be in socks. Software is probably still okay. As I said, I think some of those look really good. Okay. Good night, everybody. Be safe, be wise, be bold. And as always, good luck.